If you're running a massive industrial operation, think oil rigs, heavy transportation fleets, or mining equipment, what do you focus on?
The big stuff, right? The engine, the gear train.
Exactly. The complex software, the huge capital assets.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a surprising truth. Sometimes the most critical component, the thing that keeps your entire operation running safely and profitably, isn't the giant machine itself.
It's the small stuff.
The seemingly small, unassuming consumable that keeps all that metal from grinding to a halt. We're talking about grease.
Yeah, literally the grease that runs the world.
Today, we're diving deep into the world of industrial lubrication, and specifically a product called Lubriplate Aero.
And this isn't just any grease.
No, not at all. Based on the sources you provided, this is a product that's specified as mission critical for some of the heaviest sectors out there.
Right.
Our sources are these intense technical specs and sales materials, and they're aimed squarely at the people holding the purse strings.
Procurement professionals, maintenance chiefs, facility managers.
All of them. So our mission is to cut through the marketing talk and figure out what technical capabilities and what bottom-line financial benefits turn this grease from a simple supply item into a strategic asset.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's unpack this.
That's really the critical lens we have to use here. I mean, in these industries, failure is a totally different concept than, your car breaking down.
A completely different scale.
Completely. If a standard bearing fails on a key piece of equipment, you're not just looking at a repair bill. You could be looking at millions in unplanned downtime.
And safety risks, I imagine.
Huge safety risks, massive cleanup costs, regulatory issues. So when a team chooses a lubricant like AER, it's not a commodity decision. It's not about the lowest price per tub.
It's a strategic decision.
It is. It's a calculated move to guarantee uptime and protect assets.
The stakes are incredibly high then, before we even get into the chemistry. So let's start with what this stuff actually is, because the material makes a point of defining what it isn't.
Right. They call it a purpose-built multi-purpose grease.
And purpose-built means what, exactly? Not for your garage workshop.
Exactly. It wasn't engineered for a general shop. It was designed specifically to handle the sheer brutality of, say, a coastal oil platform.
Or deep inside a mine.
Or a conveyor system in a mine, yeah. It targets those environments where pressure is constant, components suffer from massive shock loads, and they have to run 24/7.
And the sources are really punchy about this. They say it's not some hobby shop goo.
I love that line.
Me too. They call it battle-tested. That kind of language, it immediately tells you they're selling reliability under extreme duress.
They are, and there's a serious technical reason why. For engineers in these fields, the primary danger they're fighting is something called shear failure.
Okay, shear failure. What is that?
So if you use a lubricant that's too thin, or if a standard grease just breaks down under that extreme persistent load, the molecules literally separate. The lubrication film just collapses.
And the real-world consequence of a collapsed film is?
It's immediate, it's catastrophic, and it's very expensive.
Metal on metal.
Instant metal-on-metal contact. That generates intense friction and heat, which basically welds the moving parts together.
Component seizure.
Yep, seizure, which often means a full, costly replacement and, of course, the big one, unplanned downtime. The AERO formula, from what we can tell, is designed with chemistry that specifically resists that molecular breakdown.
So it just holds together.
It holds together. It maintains its physical consistency and keeps that protective film intact no matter how hard you squeeze it.
So it's about staying put and staying effective.
Yeah.
That actually moves us perfectly into the technical performance because it's not just internal mechanical pressure.
No, it's the external environment, too.
Which, especially in marine or mining, is incredibly corrosive.
Absolutely. Just think about the challenges. You've got salt spray eating away at surfaces, constant water getting in, humidity condensing inside casings.
And Lubriplate Aero is formulated to resist all of that.
It is. Its success comes from a combination of two things. One is exceptional adhesion. It literally clings to the metal.
So it won't get washed away.
It resists that mechanical removal, yeah. And two, it has superior resistance to oxidation and washout.
That resistance to external forces, that's a direct win for asset longevity, right?
It is.
You're preventing parts from seizing or rusting, which means you extend what they call the mean time between failures. That's a huge metric for maintenance teams.
It's one of the most important metrics, and this is where the precision of the formula gets really technical and pretty fascinating.
Go on.
The formulation allows the grease to maintain what engineers call high film strength, even at low shear rates.
Okay, let's clarify that. We've talked about high pressure. What does low shear rate mean in practical terms?
Low shear rate applies to equipment that moves really slowly but carries an enormous amount of weight.
Ah, okay. Like what?
Think of a massive, heavily loaded trailer landing gear being raised or lowered, or the slow-moving pivot points on heavy utility equipment.
So they're not spinning fast.
Not at all. They're not moving fast enough to generate a dynamic fluid wedge, but they're under immense compressive load. A standard oil or a thin grease would just get squeezed out instantly.
And then you're back to metal on metal.
You are. AERO's formula ensures that thick, durable film stays put, guarding the surface even when the movement is slow and deliberate.
That makes total sense for the heavy stuff. But the source material also mentions the need for a clean, controlled consistency.
It does.
It specifically notes that it won't sling off or gum up delicate instruments. Now, wait a minute. If it's thick enough and sticky enough for a 1,000-drum press at a low shear rate, how can it possibly be fine enough for a parking meter or the inside of a speedometer?
That is the ultimate aha moment in this deep dive.
It seems like a paradox.
It's a fundamental engineering paradox. Typically, the grease that protects a massive high-load bearing is way too heavy and thick for a delicate, high-precision instrument.
You would just clog it up.
It would create way too much drag. It would gum up the speedometer gears or slow the little mechanism in a tachometer until it stops working or just gives you bad readings.
So why does the source material specify the same grease for both extremes? Let's get into that surprising range.
Because the common factor is precision protection.
Okay.
For the heavy gear, it's protecting against shear, failure, and corrosion. For the precision instrument, the speedometer, the odometer, it's doing the exact same thing, just on a different scale.
But it has to be applied differently.
In a tiny metered dose.
Yeah.
And it has to maintain that clean consistency across a wide temperature range, ensuring zero drag.
So the applications really do run the gamut. On one side, you have trailer landing gear cases, massive clutch mechanisms.
Massive, high-load, low-speed, brutal conditions.
And on the other side, you've got these critical, sensitive components, speedometers, odometers, things that are often safety or regulatory systems.
Yes, and even parking meters, which need to be reliable and accurate in all kinds of weather.
The fact that one product can provide that robust corrosion resistance and high film strength for the heavy stuff, while staying consistent and non-gumming for the delicate instruments.
That's the win. That is a massive win for inventory consolidation.
And that versatile performance, it shifts the conversation. We go from the mechanical details to the financial implications.
Right.
So that's the mechanics of uptime. But let's be honest. For the procurement manager and the CFO, the conversation quickly moves from engineering specs to the spreadsheet.
Always does.
How does a premium grease translate into measurable dollars and cents?
This is where we have to talk about total cost of ownership, or TCO.
Right.
The key business benefit isn't the price of the tub of grease. It's the reduction in operational expense across the board. The source explicitly targets 3 areas where TCO is lowered.
And what are those 3 areas management cares about most?
First, reduce downtime. By extending the service life of parts and cutting down on failures from bad lubrication, you drastically cut emergency maintenance hours.
Which means less overtime pay.
Less overtime, and more importantly, fewer missed production windows. Second, improved safety and regulatory compliance.
How so?
Fewer mechanical failures mean fewer incidents that can cascade into safety violations or, costly regulatory investigations.
And third, the inventory benefit you just mentioned.
Exactly. Lower TCO through simplified logistics. When one robust grease like AER covers multiple very different applications, your maintenance teams aren't stocking 5 different specialized SKUs.
SKUs being stock-keeping units.
Right. And cutting down on SKUs drastically cuts carrying costs and all the administrative complexity that goes with it.
That simplification sounds really powerful. But procurement teams, they're not just going to take a sales team's word for it. They need data.
They need hard metrics, absolutely.
So what specific data points are they told to track to justify switching to a premium product like this?
They have to show a measurable return on investment against their historical data. The main metric is tracking the extended mean time between failures, the MTBF.
So if a bearing used to fail every 18 months.
Switching to AERO should push that out to 24 months, maybe 30. Fewer replacements, longer asset life. They also track the reduction in emergency maintenance events by a certain percentage.
And is used.
And finally, the simplified inventory, showing that the number of distinct grease SKUs has been successfully consolidated.
Now, it's also critical to note that buying this stuff isn't just about the product itself. The sources spend a lot of time on the logistical support from the wholesale partner, PE Energy. That tells me that at this industrial scale, logistics and technical backup are just as crucial as the grease's performance.
They absolutely are. For a company managing a fleet of assets across multiple states or even countries, logistical stability is paramount. PE Energy is presented as a strategic partner, not just a seller.
So what are they providing beyond just the tub of grease?
Well, they offer wholesale depth and packaging options that align with these massive industrial buying cycles. They make sure all the necessary documentation is there, like comprehensive material safety data sheets, the MSDS.
Traceability for audits, things like that?
Exactly. Traceability docs, application guidance for the techs, and a big one, consolidated shipments.
Ah, so one purchase order instead of 10.
Right. Instead of cutting 10 different POs for 10 different greases, you issue one PO for the one robust product. That reduces freight costs and administrative overhead big time.
And the scale of the packaging really drives this home.
Yeah.
It perfectly illustrates how ERO covers every part of an industrial operation.
Yes, the range is extreme. You've got the tiny, precise 38-ounce tubes. That's your surgical tool for repairing a delicate instrument like a tachometer.
And then you move up.
Then you step up to the mid-size 1.75-ounce tubes, perfect for on-site mechanics and general shop use. And finally, for the centralized lube rooms in a massive plant.
You get the drum.
You get the bulk 14 drum weighing a hefty 115 pounds. It shows how a single consistent product is tailored for precision, for the workshop, and for large-scale bulk operations.
Before we wrap up, let's look at the ground level for a minute, the practical tips for application on the source. This is the knowledge that ensures the promised longevity actually happens.
This ground-level advice is it's non-negotiable for success. The most important tip they stress is cleaning first.
You can't just put new grease on top of old gunk.
You can't. You can't just layer a high-performance grease over old, degraded grease or contaminants. The teams have to fully remove the old material.
The source says scrubbing pays off in longevity. So if you mix the old failing product with the new, you're just compromising the formula from the start.
Precisely. If that old grease has oxidized or taken on water, putting AERO in there will compromise its integrity and actually accelerate the failure cycle.
And the other big tip.
Application control. Use the correct packaging for the job. Use the small metered tubes for precision instruments to avoid over-lubrication, which causes drag.
And save the grease gun for the big stuff.
Reserve the grease gun and the large containers for the heavy gearboxes where volume and consistent distribution are key.
And finally, a reminder that maintenance is dynamic. It's not just a static checklist.
Absolutely. You start with the manufacturer's recommendations for greasing intervals, sure, but those have to be constantly monitored and adjusted based on real-world data from the asset itself.
Like what?
Vibration analysis, temperature readings, contamination levels you find during inspections. That's the difference between preventative maintenance and smart, predictive maintenance.
You know, we started this deep dive talking about a tub of grease.
And here we are.
And we've ended up discussing inventory consolidation, supply chain stability, MTBF, and high-stakes risk mitigation across the world's heaviest industries.
It's all connected.
The key insight here, I think, is that when you're operating at scale, you just can't treat these performance-critical consumables as a commodity.
You really can't.
The seemingly small choice of lubricant has massive, measurable consequences for safety, for asset longevity, and for profitability. When a procurement team specifies a high-performance grease like Lubriplate Aero, they're doing way more than just ordering supplies.
They're making a proactive investment in guaranteed uptime.
A proactive investment.
I like that. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, just think back to that surprising application. The parking meter.
Right.
It's a device we barely glance at. It's sitting outside in every type of weather, freezing rain, blistering heat. Yet it relies on the same high standard of industrial lubrication, the same stuff specified for massive mining equipment, just to function reliably.
Never thought of that.
So next time you see a commercial trailer's landing gear, or even just a small instrument dial, consider the tiny, precise chemical formula working unseen inside, ensuring that critical component performs flawlessly day after day.
Year after year.
Year after year.
That's the end of this deep dive. We hope you feel better informed about the unseen performance requirements that literally grease the wheels of heavy industry.